previous lessons, you have completed that doing the analysis up to efficiency ratios. Then you can extend this to liquidity analysis with the liquidity ratio calculation. So the first ratio, you want to take down the current ratio. You want to take current ratio. So you require the current ratio to be current assets over current liabilities. Current assets over current liability. So you write that the formula, the current assets over current liability in a ratio format. Then you want to find out the substitutions. Current asset, you can get it from the sum, say equal to current year 1900, current liabilities 1200. So you can substitute that figure 1900 over 1200. The results would be 1.58. So why you want to have the 1.58? 1900 over 1200. Yes. So when you are rounding up, you want to deduct all this 1.58. So anyone writing 1.59, that's wrong. So next ratio, you want to take down quick ratio. So what is quick ratio? Current assets minus inventories or quick assets over current liabilities. So you can define it under the formula column, quick assets minus current liabilities. So how can you find out that the quick assets? So you go and learn it. The current asset total 1900 for the year 2022. So out of that, the stock in trade is there 600. That should be excluded from the 1000 and the we call the 1900. This is a total asset. 5000 total asset, 1900 is the current asset total, subtotal. So when you are excluding this one, it become as 1300. While this one, current liabilities become 1200. So 1300 is the quick assets. 1300 quick assets, 1200 current liabilities. So your results should be 1.08. So you check with that the calculator values 1200. So you can have the infinity value. Here also you want to deduct all these values. Don't consider. So 1.08 become as the quick asset ratio. Then what else you can apply? Working capital ratio. What is working capital ratio? Net working capital ratio. Net working capital over net assets. Net working capital over net assets. So what is net working capital? So net working capital is the difference between that the current assets and the current liability. So you know that the current asset 1900, current liability 1200. So you can find the net working capital as 700. So what is a net assets? Net assets equal to equity. Already you have defined that the equity, the return as 3008 net assets. So already you have used this 3080. 3080, yeah, total assets minus total asset 5200. You want to deduct 1200 from it. So 4000 you obtain. Again, you want to deduct 320. That is debentures. Then you want to deduct 600 also. Then altogether you can get the 3080. Alternatively, you can get the capital and reserve values 3680. So out of that, you exclude this preferential capital, which is falling under the non-current liabilities side. So 3680 minus 600, 3008. That is the value you can obtain for this net assets. So the results would be 0.23. So you can confirm that using your calculator. 700 divided by 3080. So you get these long figures. So what are you going to do with that? So you want to rounding up this one. 0.227 should be written 0.23 because you must have the same style for reporting all the values in two decimals. So that's why you want to rounding up this. Anyone writing as a 0.22, that's wrong. Cannot be accepted. Then the cash ratio. So what is cash ratio? Cash plus cash equivalent over current liabilities. So you can substitute, find out this cash and cash equivalent value. So you go for this balance sheet, you can find the under current assets. The cash and cash equivalent, 420 is there. So you take it. Current liability 1200. So you can get the results 0.35. 0.35. 420 over 1200. So you can get exactly 0.35. And any other ratios, you can try it. Interval measure also you can calculate. But to find out these interval measures, you want to add the average daily operating expenses. This is not given in the question. You want to calculate it. by dividing this the total operating cost by 360 to get it. Then you can go with that the long-term solvency ratio or leverage. So total debt to equity. Total debt to equity. So simply debt to equity. It's a total debt over equity. Total debt over equity is the definition. So you have the values for the total debt. So how can I get it? Non-current liability is there. So that is the major long debt. Major debt. So even the current liability is also part of debt. So those are called short-term debt. So you can take 1,200 plus 320, 1,520. Still, you want to have one more item to be added to debt capital, that is preference share capital, 600. So you take the 600 plus 320 and 1,200. So altogether 920, 2,120. 2,120 you want to get it. So you can get it 2,120 you want to get it. Equity already you know 3,080. So the results would be 0.69. You check about that infinity values. 3,008. Yeah, still you have the problem. So you have eliminated this one. 0.88. 0.688 is coming. You want to present in a two decimals, you want to rounding up to next highest. 0.69 is coming. So next question is that long-term debt to equity. This is the total debt to equity. One is the long-term debt to equity. It's not here, so you can take it. Long-term debt to equity ratio. Simply, you can have the different versions of this debt equity ratio, long-term debt to equity. So you can define it the formula like this: long-term debt over equity. So total debt is there. Long-term debt plus short-term debt. Now you want to exclude that short-term debt. That is 1,200. 1,200 to be deducted. So the remaining would be 920 with the long-term debt. Now the equity is same, so you can get the results. 0.30. So exactly is coming as 920 over 3,080. So you get yes, again you want to do the approximation. So in this down, all these digits to be deducted, then it should be upgraded to 8, then it will be upgraded to 9, then the 9 to be upgraded to 0, then the 2 upgraded to 3. So that's why you get that 0.30. 0.30. And you can have this fixed interest coverage. What is fixed interest coverage? Net profit before interest and after tax. Net profit before interest after tax over fixed interest. So you can take it profit after tax plus interest. So profit after tax is available directly from the profit or loss statement. So operating profit after tax is given 600. And you want to take the fixed interest. So in this case, the finance expense is given as 60. But finance expense is a composite of all the items related to the finance. So you want to identify what is a fixed interest. So the interest is given to the 15% debentures for the year 3020 is there. So 15% annual debenture, and the interest rate would be 448. 48 should be the 48,000. So you identify 48. So this is included here, the finance. So from that, the profit after tax 600, you add back the 48. You get that the numerator profit after tax and interest. So 648. What is the fixed interest? 48 you identify. And result is coming as 13.5 times 648 divided by 48. 13.5. Exactly. There's no problem of rounding. So next thing, fixed dividend coverage. Fixed dividend coverage. Yeah, net profit after tax over fixed dividend. So fixed dividend in the sense that the preference share dividend. You have the profit after tax and the fixed dividend. So profit after tax, you know that it's 600. Then the dividend you identify from that information. 10% preference dividend. So it's 10% of 600, share capital 60. So it should have been the accrued for the deal. Here it is also given in the dividend state that both ordinary and you can't take 300. This is ordinary. This is not fixed. So preference dividend is included here. 60. So you want to take 60. So 600 over 60. So it's simple 10 times. Fixed dividend coverage 10 times. So what else you can have? Gearing ratio. So what is gearing ratio? Long-term debt over equity plus long-term debt. So long-term debt over equity plus long-term debt. So long-term debt you have already identified as 920. Plus equity also you have identified 4,008. Then adding with that you can get 4,000. So 920 over 4,000 become as a gearing ratio. So you check up with your calculator, divisibility. Yeah, exactly. You can have 0.23. Yes, that's all about the long-term solvency ratios calculations. So you can later do the interpretations using these guidelines. Now you can move to the next group of ratios called the growth potentials ratios to measure the growth, called growth ratios. These are the growth ratio available in the literature. Earnings per dividend payout, price earning, earning yield, and dividend yield. So you can set up this one, earnings per share. Earnings per share. What is earning per share? Profit after tax and preference dividend. The number of ordinary shares outstanding. Simple, very simple format. You would have studied in the advanced level of the very other complicated calculation for earnings per share. Profit after tax or preference dividend. Profit after tax, you know that 600. Preference dividend 60. So you number of shares outstanding. Number of shares outstanding, you can get it from the share capital. Stated ordinary share capital 1760, total is found. Within bracket, you can observe 88,000 shares. So nominal value is given. You want to calculate the number of shares. So 88,000 is coming. So it should be put in thousands. So 88. Don't write 88,000 because all figures we have converted into uh, thousands. So you can take it the answer 540 over 540 over 88. So you can have these figures long. So you want to get it this all these to be neglected, and from third digit 6 to be upgraded to 0, then 3 become 4, 3 become 4. So 6.14 would be the approximate earnings per share. Then you can write up dividend per share. So dividend per share, ordinary dividend over number of time. Ordinary dividend is given in the question as 300. So you want to identify that, oh no, 300. So the dividends rate is given during the year, 300. So this is ordinary plus preference. Preference, you know, 600. So balance 240. So you take that as 240 as the dividend, total dividend paid during the year. Otherwise, you want to go for this uh, any other notes form to identify the dividend declared. So it's 140 divided by 88. So you can get these figures. So you can neglect up to this one. Then 7 to be upgraded to the next digit 3. 27 become 30. So 2.73 would be the right figure. It should be stated in rupees. Don't forget that. It should be in rupees. If you answer without the denominations, then the dividend payout ratio. What is dividend payout ratio? It is a dividend per share over earning per share. So you have calculated dividend per share, earning per share before. That is 6.14 and 2714. So you can easily substitute it and get the results. 0.44. 0.44. Why do you want to get 0.44? So when you are checking this up to this level, yeah, the third four to be neglected. So the remaining should be taken 0.4. Then what else you can have? Earning yield. What is earning yield? Earning yield is earning per share over market value of an organization into 100. So earning per share that you calculated, uh, market price per share, that is to be obtained from the other information. Not this the market price on ordinary share 16 for the year 2022. So you take that value, average market per share. So earnings per share 6.14 in so you can get it 6.14 divided by 16. So 0.383 into 100. So you can multiply by 100 also. So 38.37 or 38 you can have. 38.38 you can have. Then the dividend yield. This also same as in the earning yield. Market price per share should be the denominator. Dividend per share would be the numerator. So you apply that 2.73. 2.73 divided by 60. And you can multiply it by 100. So result is 17.06. Not 6 percentage. Don't forget that it should be placed in percentage. Then one more, that is price earning ratio. Price earning ratio should be calculated. The market price per share over earnings per share. So market price per share, you know that 16. Earning per share you have calculated. Then the results would be 16 over 6.14. So you can get it 61. You want to upgrade all this for 61. So 2.61 would be the results times. So these are the answer, maximum answer you can give to this kind of exercises. So this exercise is given to you. You will learn how to do the calculations. From that available information, making some adjustment, then calculations additionally, etc. And then the rounding up, the rounding, presenting the results is very important. So what's wrong with that? Yeah, if it is 2.10, you take it as 11. So the common things. So regardless of these the third digits, you take it as 5 up. So 2.11 is the right answer. So from this exercise, you can learn a lot of things. Those who are missing this would be doing wrongly, I think. Mm. So everyone ensure that you get the answers in the right way. Right. So what is the next question? Evaluate the company's relative operating performance and financial position, comparing the ratios calculated in the example 1 with the ratios for the previous years and industrial average ratios given below, and pointing out the deficiency and suggesting improvements. So this is you are calculated for 22. So you can't do any comments unless you are the previous year's data or the data of other similar firms. So those are called inter-year analysis, inter-firm analysis, and industrial average analysis. So here, both are given. 2021 figures are given. Industrial average also is given for this the ratio that you are calculating. So you want to write the command over it. So how can you write the command? So you have set up this table like this. So initially you can highlight the commands rather than writing in the paragraph. You can comment later. You can write a report. If you are good in writing, the report you can write. But before writing, you must understand that whether how to make a comment over it to identify the performance level. Right. So you want to set up this one. Hmm. This is ratio number, profitability ratios. 21 as given in the question. It has been uploaded without answer. This is the ratio that you apply. So you take it. Then for the 2020, you are calculated. Right. So these are the answers that you have obtained. 45, 15, 11, then the 13. You bring all these to that place. So 45, 15, everything. Without any error, you have. Then you want to compare with your general knowledge. So profit margin says that Whenever you are having the more and more margin, the high margin, you can interpret as a improvement. So when you compare with the previous years, 40, now it has increased to 45. So you can write it as improved gross profit margin. Net profit margin improved. ROCE improved. ROE improved. ROE improved. ROI improved. Everything has been improved. So you can write an overall profitability comments. The overall profitability of the company has improved in 2022 from 21. Suppose that you don't have any much support on this. Say out of these six indicators, profitability indicators, we find that four indicators indicate not improved. Only two indicators has stated you improved. So at the time you can write that comment that so overall profitability is not good, has not improved significantly in the particular year. So you must write, if you write the comments in favor of this, the company has improvement. So you must have the majority of these indicators supporting your argument. If it is below 50%, you can argue that it should be more than the 50%. Right? So with that keep in mind, you can write your comments. Then you write the efficiency ratios. So these are the given ratios, and these are the ratio that you have generated. So you bring that from that place. You check it's correct or not. That should be a similar one. You can't take any other different one. Stock turnover, stock turnover. Assuming that these have been calculated using the same formula methodology. Right. Now you can do the comparisons. Right. So stock turnover 4.5 is previous years. Now it has increased or decreased. Decreased. Stock turnover has decreased. Stock holding period increased. Data turnover increased. Data collection period decrease. Total asset turnover decrease. Increase. Net asset turnover. Net current asset turnover increased. Creditor turnover decrease. The creditor payment period increase. Right. So now you can give a comment over it as efficiency. Here you want to recall the knowledge about how to the knowledge about the indicators, objectives. Stock turnover. When you are having these ratios at the ideal point, so you have learned that higher turnover ratios cannot be indicating that efficiency. Lower also cannot be indicating the efficiency. It should be in the moderate level. But in the comparative term, when you find an increase, you can say that efficiency is better. But in this company, you observe that it has decreased marginally. So when you are comparing it, when you want to interpret it as less efficient than this the previous years. So calling days, you should have the minimum on the lower days, but here it increased. So it's become as a negative also. So when you are interpreting both stock turnover and the stock holding, we should give the same results, same interpretation. So less efficient. Data turnover ratio increased. So higher ratio comparatively more efficient. This identified. The total asset turnover also decreased. So definitely, when you are having this, the total asset turnover, you can interpret as a less efficient. So the total asset turnover. So when you are having this, the higher the ratios, you can tend to interpret it as a very high emissions, high emissions, billions of sales, billions of sales can be uh, created by a firm investing only 1,000 rupees. Imagine that using the 1,000 rupees asset, you can generate a billion rupees of sales. To what extent the firm is very efficient in the using 1,000 rupees in generating billions of rupees during a year. So for 1 rupee of sale, the stock total asset turnover, 1 rupee of the asset, 1 rupee of asset, the 2001.8 cents has been generated as income. But in 2020, current year, it has reduced to 0.77. So it's less, comparatively less efficient. There's a margin, even though the difference is very minimal. Anyway, you can't interpret as efficient. The absolute term. You want to have the relative terms, all the things, relatively, comparing with the previous one. So when you compare, Fakwan, he said that one person is height, very tall man. So, so you can't interpret any person as tall unless you compare with that person with someone other who is supposed to be short. And if you find a single person's, you can't interpret as at all. But our ordinary people will interpret it when his height is compared with the average height of the people they have seen. Average height of the people they have seen. Now, Sri Lankan people, so normal average for the male is 5.5, 5 feet and 5 inch. So anyone, if you find anyone with the 6 feet, you come to interpret it very tall man, very tall man, something like that. So you compare that the person with the average the person's height you have seen in the earlier periods. Without naturally you are comparing. But in the if you go to the Russia or the Western countries, so you can't tell that the person with the 6 feet as a tall man because the Russian country people the average height would be 6.5. So from country to country, this kind of perceptions will be different. But anyway, that when you are interpreting this, the less vision and higher visions, you want to do the comparative terms necessarily here. Then the net current asset ratio increased, so more vision. Net current asset turnover ratios increased, more visions. Creditor turnover ratio. It is opposite to the debtor turnover ratios. No, same, no? It has decreased. So meaning that creditor payment period has increased. Can you interpret as a less efficient? So the creditor payment period is allowed by the creditors, right? Allowed by the creditors, creditor term. When you find it is increasing, meaning that mm, meaning that the creditor has increased it. The term, the creditor payment has increased, not that. This is the even though the creditor allows this say 90 days, now the firm has taken to pay the creditors 109 11 days. They are taken to some more creditor payment period. Actually, it should be interpreted as a less efficiency. So you can't argue that the whenever the creditor giving these the more payment credit terms, even though that is the advantages to the company, but in the regarding this kind of the working capital management, so actually the creditors should be paid on time and very frequently so that you can extend a good supplier relationship with them without any break. So no creditors would be extending more and more credit terms. So if they are extending more and more the credit terms, they will be affected. The creditors they can't earn with the profit. So they should have this the agreed amount of credit terms, maybe 3 months or 2 months, something like that. So sometimes you will be given in the questions that the creditor payment period allowed, so creditor terms allowed, something like that in the questions. Then you can take it as the yardstick to measure the give your comments against which. So here you want to interpret as a when the creditor payment period is increased is less efficient. Right, overall efficiency ratios should be compared. Overall efficiency. You count on this number of indicators which can give you these more efficiency on less efficient. So less efficient 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. More efficient 1, 2, 3, 4. So less efficient is more than this more efficient. So collectively you can give your comment that the efficiency of this company in 2022 is slightly decreased in that year 2022 than this previous one mostly. But here you can have these comments as you are the beginners of the analysis. You can do the comments, but the experts will write the good comment over it. So when you are practicing it at the industrial level only, that would be expected. But in this theoretical learning, you can pay attention to how to do that interpretations. Then the liquidity ratios. When you compare this one, increased. Current ratio increased, quick ratio increased, current cash ratios increased, interval measures increased, net working capital increased. So interpretation, better liquidity, etc. It's it. Right. So here you want to pay attention on the current ratio and the quick ratio also. For a firms operating in the trading industry must maintain the standard current ratio. So that is 2 is to 1. Generally recognized yardstick is 2 is to 1. You must have 1 rupee of the 2 rupees in hand to pay the 1 rupee due loan. Here, in the comparative term, you can have it, but the when comparing with the benchmark, it's very low. Both years cannot be interpreted as a good liquidity. 1.48 is far below this the 2.0. But the relatively is better than the previous one. But you can add this with the comments with the better quality that it is below that the standard 2.0 for the trading firm. For other type of financial type, that kind of benchmark is not used. So for the quick ratio also, you can have this 1.02. So standard ratio is 1 is to 1. You must have 1 rupee in the cash format, quick assets format to pay the 1 rupee liability, current liability. So whenever you are having this around the 1, it's okay. If you are having more quick assets, that can be interpreted as very high level of the liquidity, which has to be interpreted as unsatisfactory. Very high liquidity, meaning that when the liquidity is improving more and more beyond the certain limit, it will result in the negative impact for the firm. Profitability will be affected by that. So unnecessarily, the liquidity can be enhanced. So it should be in the moderate level. So that's why these are the two ratios, the current ratio and the quick ratios are given this the standard against which that kind of the identifications of satisfactory level of this liquidity can be obtained. So here also you can argue that 1.02 is very close to 1, while the 1.08 is far away. So when you compare 1.2 with the 1.08, definitely you want to comment that the liquidity is, even though the liquidity has increased in 2022, but it is still not close to that the standard. So it is not a better liquidity position. So that was you can compromise with the satisfactory. The common satisfactory is given, even though it has increased. So those kind of aspects are there in the literature to reading about this and the implications of this kind of ratio analysis. Cash ratio. This also should be formed in the comparative terms. There's no standard given in the literature about the cash ratio. So whenever you find that the ratios more than the previous one, you can identify increase better liquidity. Interval measures also in the same way interpreted as that. Net working capital also to be improved. So the overall liquidity position of the firm in 2022 must be given as a better liquidity position than these previous years, because you have the support of these 5 ratios. Leverage ratios. Debt to equity, gearing, fixed interest coverage, and the fixed dividend coverage are taken here. Long term debt is not given here. So debt to equity, so decreased. Gearing decreased. Fixed in the coverage increase. Yes. So whenever you find that the leverage ratio is at the low level, so that indicates that the solvency is in a good in the firm. But very higher ratios very dangerous for this. Even the debt to equity ratio here is a total debt to equity 0.72 is very high level ratio. 0.2 method, what is the remaining 0.28? That is equity. So already in the 2021, the debt equity is in the higher position. That is not favor for the equity shareholders. But in the 22, it has decreased. So you can interpret it better. The solvency is getting better. So gearing also the same nature. The fixed interest coverage, whenever you find that the higher results, relatively higher results, so you want to interpret as a better coverage, interest coverage and the dividend coverage. It's better interest coverage, dividend coverage. Then you can do the interpretation regarding the growth ratio. Earning per share, you observe that increased, dividend increased, dividend payout increased. So earning yield and the dividend yield decreased. So what is the interpretation? Better growth potentials. Whenever you find this earning per share is increasing, you want to write it as the firm has the growth potentials in future. And the price earning ratios, whenever you find that ratio is increasing, you tend to interpret it as overprice. Earning yield decrease, so lower yielding than this previous year. So you can interpret all these growth ratios in the comparative term only. There's no absolute measures or standard ratios you can have unless you compare with the previous years or industrial average. You can do that. So then comparison with the industrial average. So industrial average can be taken as a benchmark ratio to some extent. But the overall industry is working not efficiency. We can't claim that our firm is working good. Mm. So whenever you compare with that in the industrial average, all the other firms are making a gross profit margin 44. This firm has uh, earned 48%. So it's higher margin. So ROCE relatively equal, ROE lower. So the mixed results are there, mixed comments. So you can have this the 1, 2, 3, 4 ratios, but the 3 higher. So overall comment you can have this firm, the company has higher profitability ratios than these industrial average ratios. So this firm is better than other firms in the industry. And when you compare the efficiency, all are less efficient. So this firm is not operating efficiently in the industry. Then the liquidity also is become as a poor when compared with the industrial average. So this is the method of this, doing the interpretations about the performance. But this is a hypothetical some figures. But you can have the good comment report on if you are taking it from that the real evidence. So what can you do is that you uh, download some annual reports of the companies and do the analysis like this calculation analysis and find that the inter-year comparisons and the industrial comparisons. So usually we give assignments to the students to do that. Then in addition to that, some other additional issues are there in the financial analysis. But it's that you will be given the ratios and some figures. What can do you want to find out that the original numerator or denominator? This is very challenging than these calculations, doing calculation the depreciation. So I can meet you with the schedule with some other exercise, third exercise.